Hopefully you are. Hopefully you're getting some great information. This event has been life changing for you, and you're ready to really reset and win and write your best second act for the second half of 2020. We refuse to be defeated this year, and as you can see right now, we have Miss Kearn Cherry on the I was about to say the call. I'm just doing my radio show, but we have her on the screen. Our next presenter, this young lady, someone else who I recently met, and I'm not even sure. I get involved with so many different things. So I'm not even sure if it was through Black Speakers Network, through Black Speakers Rock. It might have been through Black CEO. Apparently, it was something black. So met this young lady, and she was on my show a while ago, and just killed it. She was awesome. So I wanted to bring her on because she is all about. We talk about resetting your connection, but she is the, as they say, the butts in the seat queen. So if you're talking about trying to build events, she's going to help you. And I've got to say, if I was giving out an award for the presenter who promoted this event the most, she is the winner of that award. So obviously she knows what she's doing. So I want to welcome Miss Kearn Cherry to the Reset 2020 Summit. How are you?
Hey, Ryan, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I love being a part of something that's always bigger than you. And right now, it's really critical that people learn to reset. A lot of us have been saying pivot, but reset is really essential right now that we take the time and just readjust what we're doing. Sometimes you can't do things all the way you've always done it. So I love the concept of this conference.
Awesome, thank you. And you are someone who obviously not new to conferences yourself. You put on a lot of events. You just had your Power Up Summit. Actually, it was the pre-event. So you have the live summit coming up next month as well. So that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I want to, as we going through this reset, as we're going through this time to really evaluate things. I think that it's important to evaluate our connections, evaluate the people that we've attached ourselves to, evaluate people that we have not attached ourselves to, and really reevaluate those connections and how they can help us to grow professionally, business wise. So that's why I wanted to have you on. So I'm going to give you the floor to go ahead and talk to us about how we can start to reset our connections and really start to grow by attaching ourselves to other people as well.
All right, great, great, great. So thank you once again. I'm Kearn Cherry. I'm a speaker, coach, author, entrepreneur, and I'm also a visionary author right now. I just released Trailblazers Who Lead. I have been in business for over 23 years. Our home care business has been here in healthcare for over 30 plus years. And I have been planning and producing events for over 15 years. During that time, a lot of people know me as a person who is a master collaborator. I believe in connecting and developing relationships. So I often talk about turning your connections into collaboration. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. A lot of people, when they connect with me, a lot of people think, oh, she's been doing this for years. It's easy for her and all that stuff. But if you know me, and especially my classmates when I was younger, that was not always an easy task. And it really isn't an easy task to just go out and meet a bunch of people that are new. But I'm telling you, you should always take the opportunity to connect to new people. You don't want to just operate in the same circle that you've been operating in, because when you do the same thing consistently, you're going to get the same results. So if you're not connecting and building relationships, you don't want to do what you continue to do. So I want to talk about a few things that are going to help you develop, turn your connections into collaborations. And why do you want to turn your connections into collaboration? You want to expand your base. So I'm going to talk about a few things to help you get there. So you one thing things that you I'm going to talk about things that you need to do to be an effective connector. 2, who's your target audience? 3, where are some of the places you can go? And we know right now during COVID and this uncertain times, those things have changed a little bit, but you still want to keep those things on record, and you still want to use some of the same techniques to do that. How do you work a room? Even though we're doing virtual summits and everything's virtually, you still got to work the room. You still have to be on those sites and work in those sites. And how to use social media to help you make those connections, to help you turn those connections into collaborations. How do you turn those connections into relationships, and how will those relationships become collaborations that are profitable? So first off, you want to make sure that you're effective as a connector, right? So you want to do some of the same things that you do in person. You want to make sure that you are prepared. You want to make sure that you have the essentials so that you can connect to other people. When you're online, and I'm using online right now because that's the time that we're in, when you're online, you have to be prepared to share who you are. So come to any event, whether it's in person or not, prepared, dress the part. So I actually have moved that up on my list because I have noticed on a lot of virtuals now that many people are not really prepared. They're coming into a virtual environment and they don't necessarily have the look to go along with who they actually are, the business that they're actually representing. So you want to dress the part. And I'm talking about for us ladies, put on your makeup, even if it's as simple as putting on your foundation, you know, uh, putting on your appropriate attire. Yes, you may not have to worry about your bottom, but let's face it, we've seen it on camera with news reporters. They've actually had no bottoms on. They stepped up and boom, we knew that they were not appropriately dressed. Be prepared just like you are in person. Be ready to drop your name, your title, your business, all that, just like you do on your business card. In person, if you're in person at any event, especially right now, if you're at anything in person right now, which there are only a few opportunities, and I say keep those business cards in your purse, your wallet, whatever, and they need to be efficient. They need to be cards that say exactly who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So your full name, your title, your business name, your website, your phone number and email. I don't know how many times I've looked at business cards and had to ask people, can you please add your email so that I can communicate with you? So yes, people are building their database, but at the same time, that's one of the main ways to communicate right now. Everything's digital, so you need to put that on there. And a little plug, if you can put your social media handles on there, some people have a consistent social media handle, but put that on your card. Because remember, we're at a time where we're actually being forced to go digital. So you definitely want to do that. You want to be smart about this and take every opportunity in person, right? So I think I've already mentioned your website. If you can do a brief description of what you offer, do that. And keep that in mind when you're on virtuals. Some of the groups that I'm a part of, they really don't want you to introduce yourself unless you can appear online. So you need to, like I said, you need to be prepared to appear and take that opportunity. If somebody says, introduce yourself and ask, can you drop that in the chat box, how people can connect you. So these are things that I'm twisting in because we're now digital. Be prepared to have your elevator pitch, right? If I got 50 people online, I don't have time to hear everything that you know, everything and some, and your description. Be prepared with a 30 seconds to 1 minute. 30 seconds to 1 minute. And let me give you a really good tip, because a lot of people don't seem to know how to do an elevated pitch. Write down who you are. Literally, take your time and write it down. And then use your tools like Zoom and rehearse. Rehearse your elevator pitch. Be prepared at all times. Somebody asks who you are, you need to drop that. I'm Kearn Cherry. I'm a speaker. I'm an event planner, you know, event producer. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a person that can actually put butts in your seats. If you only get a one-liner, go straight to that one-liner. But make sure every chance that you get to drop who you are, that you're prepared, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, or less. They may say, we need your name and title. So your title may have to be something other than your business name or CEO. That CEO doesn't say anything to me
Right.
if I don't know what you are. So get you a tagline too. Create a tagline, because that's a really good way. That's why I came up with Butts in the Seat Queen. I do a lot of events, and so I want to make sure that people know that's what I do, right? So, in addition to that, and I've already went over dress your part. So be prepared. Every event speaks differently. You know, if it's something that you're doing and you want to speak to that event, then look, you may want to put a branded t-shirt on. You know, like Ryan, you might want to say, I want something that's branded to what I'm trying to speak to. That's good, but still be prepared. Look the part, look awoke, be alert, and be ready to jump in and conversate. Okay. So, and then number two, decide who your target audience is. So, you really want to do some homework. I often say now, a lot of us, and I used to walk in a room and I, you know, I would just walk in and say, okay, I'm here and, you know, let me get busy. Come with a plan. Don't just show up to anything without a plan, right? If you have the time, go on any of these digital platforms, sites like Facebook. A lot of people create events. So if they create an event page, see who's planning to attend. Look who's on that list and say, I like to try to connect to her. So I hope she's on today, and I want to make sure if she's there that I can send her. Remember, in the chat box, you can send a private message directly to that individual. So look, connect to them and say, hey, I just want to introduce myself and I would like to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. If it's okay, I'd like to reach you at the event. Think, we're in a time of that we have to reset. We need to do things differently than we were doing before, right? So this, think like that. Now, if you're going to an actual in-person event, look at that list and see who's actually on the list that you would like to connect to. Look, it's great to hand out your business cards. It's, you know, I'm sure right now people are kind of panicky handing out their business card. But even in the midst of that, you want to have 3 to 4 people that you truly want to meet, that you're thinking this business lines up with what I'm doing. These people have may have an opportunity. I can create an opportunity for them. And maybe it's something down the road, but it's somebody that you think are doing and doing things and you like to be a part of that. So make a list. Have 3 to 5 people that are on your top list, because some people may not show up. So 3 to 5 people that you really want to connect to. And look, I know people say, people sometimes say, Karen, you're cyber stalking. Look, this is what you want to do if you want to be prepared for an event. Go on these people's Facebook site, even if you aren't friends with them, see what they're doing. I love to go to LinkedIn because LinkedIn is such a professional site, and it's really where people are connecting and making true connections and starting discovery calls and conversations
Right.
there. So utilize these sites to check out people so that when you show up, whether virtual or in person, you can make that connection to people. So do that. And I really suggest that you do that. Where do you go just to see what's going on? Even during the time of COVID, you still want to check some of the standard places that you normally go, because these companies and organizations still have to figure out how to operate during this time. So chambers are still having events, they're just doing it online. Women organizations around the world are having events, they're just online. So are men as well, but you want to look at some of the same places. And if you don't know of some of the places, think of, like I said, think of some of the, for women, look at women organizations. If you see, there are people, I mean, I'm connected to some people in Australia. They have meetings and their hours are a little different. But think about it. The world has shrunk because of the internet. And now you get to meet people in England, as I said before, Australia, Africa, wherever you're looking. And you never know where your next connection that can turn into collaboration will come from. So jump on some of these sites. Look at the Facebook groups. Facebook groups are popping, as they say. They're popping. And if you go inside of there are some connections that can truly lead to some great collaboration. So I am telling you, take the time, look, connect. And I was talking to a friend. I remember thinking to myself, she was saying, I'm a part of so many groups, I can't keep up. And I'm like, no, I mean, you don't have to be on a group every day. You don't even have to be on there every week. But when you do go on there, take the time to see what kind of activities are going on. And keep in mind, some of them have certain days that you can post about your event, your company, linking each other, connecting on different platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and others. So take the time to do that. Drop your information in there. You never know who's looking. I've had plenty where there were people looking for podcast guests. Some people are looking for speakers for their summit. So look at some of these Facebook groups. You're never a part of too many. You just have to take the time, a couple of times a month and see what they're doing and see how you can benefit and see who is there to connect to. And so, person, but there are only a few of those. But if you're a person that's normally doing booths and things like that, seek out those live events so that you have an opportunity to exhibit your business and make some connections there as well. Also, a lot of people are starting to do exhibits online. So take advantage of that. It may cost you something, it may not, but I highly suggest that you look at that as another way to connect and meet new people. Because remember, one person knows at least 7 people, 7 solid people in their circle. If you take that one person and then they know 7 other people, then that's another 7 other people. And each one of them knows 7 people. You are building your connection list. Somewhere in there could be a collaboration opportunity. So make sure that you're doing that. Speak on different platforms, just like Ryan is doing right here. He's offering people opportunity to come up and speak and share. This is an opportunity to collaborate with other speakers that are part of the event. So if you're a speaker, you definitely want to be looking at some of the virtual summits that we're participating in and collaborating with others. So some people as speakers right now thinking I can take a break. Well, you might take a break right now, but to be honest, it's not a good time to take a break. You need to be visible
Mm-hmm.
right now
Yep.
because next year, next year's gonna come around, and people like Ryan who are actually out there doing and keeping himself out front, he's gonna be a person that people are gonna look at and say, "Hey, would you like to come speak at our conference?" Because you know what, we didn't forget about him, but hey, so and so, I thought you weren't speaking anymore because I hadn't seen you
Right.
in over a year. So I thought you were out, pretty much you're outdated. If people like Les Brown, George Frazier, um, Tony Robbins, all these people are actively speaking on platforms and they're also doing their own platform, how much do other people, other speakers need to be doing the same and using those platforms to connect to other people? I actually was on EbonyCon, which is Ebony Jet First. That was their first conference that they did virtually. And I actually connected with a few of my speakers that people saw last week in my Level Up Your
Wow.
Visibility and Profitability conference. I was able to do that because I was ready to get on that platform. I was ready to take advantage of that opportunity and not just speak, but I hung around to see who else that I could connect to. So I wind up connecting to Dr. Avis. I wind up reconnecting to Delano Johnson and several other speakers. So make sure that you look in different places for your connections. Um, Again, I already mentioned that. You really want to make sure that you work the room. So working the room is essential. I'm gonna give you tips on when you go out, because this is really critical right now. Whether you go to a gala, whether you go to a smaller meeting, and yes, we're going to respect our social distancing, but when you go in, you need to work that room. Look, if they only got 10 people in the room, you need to at least be sitting and connecting with at least half of them. Personally, and 10 people, I can do all 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But in the sense, you need to make some strong connections in that room. Don't just come in and be present. You need to go in and have a mission. Make sure people know who you are, what you do, and look, y'all, listen. I am going to talk about something that George Frazier said because, he is the master networker,
Absolutely.
wrote books on it, right? And so he said something, and, it really sung to me. It really stuck in my mind. He said, when I meet a new person and I talk to them, I'm going to take 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes to say something about who I am, right? If he does that. And then the rest of the time, he's going to turn it over to that person because he is not there he already knows himself, right? So
Right.
he wants to make sure that he listens to that person to get to know who they are. Listening is a quality that we just underestimate. And I laugh because my husband reminds me of this all the time. He's like, you need to listen more. And you need, sometimes you have to get a refresher, a reminder that that's what you got to do. But you need to listen to people because you'll find out so much more about them. And you'll be able to take that connection beyond that room, beyond that virtual conference, beyond that virtual meeting. You'll be able to connect and gain more from just a 10, 15-minute conversation if you just listen. God gave us one mouth and two ears, and that speaks volume. And George Frazier pointed it out. Don't go and worry about telling them all about yourself. Introduce yourself, have that elevator pitch ready, and then turn it over to them, and then make it all about them, right? So that you can grab information so you can come back and build that relationship. So, how do you use social media to your advantage? So, I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite sites is LinkedIn. It's just my favorite site. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. I have over 22,000 connections
Wow.
on LinkedIn because I really think it's the place that you are going to have on your digital platform if you want to be employable, if you want to be somebody to connect to, you're going to need to be on LinkedIn. And, I'm not on there every day, but I'm on there enough to keep track of my people and follow up at least once a week. I'm going through and connected. LinkedIn is where all the corporations are. They're already there. Many of them have their CEO, their CMO. They have, many of them have a list of employees from the janitor to the CEO sitting on LinkedIn. If you are trying to build a true connection, this is one of the places you need to be. I mean, it should be like top of your list because there are too many opportunities I personally have seen. I've actually booked uh, talk shows, radio shows. I've actually booked sponsors, conferences, from being on LinkedIn. People are there and they're ready to do business. It's a business world and it should be. But know this, that COVID is there. I mean, we just have to face reality. Some people are going to lose their job during this time frame. But that doesn't mean that you need to sit on the sideline and wait. You need to go work that, I say that particular site, because that's where people are going to hire from. People are going to hire from the digital platform.
Right.
They're already doing it. It's just more proof now that they're going to do. So you want to be ready. And I really think that LinkedIn is going to be one of those sites that you will want to be on as far as being looking for a job. So keep that in mind. Keep that digital platform in mind because it will work to your advantage. Also, if you're on Facebook, I love sharing my kids' pictures. I love sharing all that stuff. But and I love watching people with their animals and their pets and stuff like that. But it's time to upgrade your site. It's time to make sure that you don't have a dog representing you as your profile on your site. Okay? That you don't, every now and then I'll share and I have groups with pictures with my kids and stuff like that, Ryan. But you know, you still want people to know that this is me. Yes, I share some of my personal family stuff as far as pictures and things like that occasionally, but you don't want to make it all that. You need to be visible professionally on Facebook. You don't need to have it just personal. On some people's sites, I'm not even sure why they have a Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You're sharing everything else but anything about you. So we don't have no clue who you are.
Right, right,
And,
right.
and, and so you need to do that. Use these. Instagram. Instagram is like turning into one of those combination business personal sites. So it's really becoming a good mix. And so you want to have a good presence there. Twitter is definitely number two as far as business. Most speakers and CEOs and people like that, they have a Twitter account in addition to their LinkedIn. Some of them don't even have a Facebook site. Right. But what makes, and going back to LinkedIn, just so you can realize how important the difference is between LinkedIn and Facebook. On LinkedIn, I know what people do for a living. I know if you're a CEO because you posted it there.
Right.
It's in the requirements. Tell me who you are, what's your job, all that stuff. On Facebook, none of that's required. You can put your just a little information. You don't have to say where you're from. You don't have to say who you work for. None of that stuff. You could just be posting junk and you're good. So the bottom line is it's professional. It's a place you need to be. You need to consider those sites. Look at all of them, but use social media to your advantage. Do not, um, do not, uh, do not right now sit by while everybody else is making sure they're visible. You want to step up your digital game. And on Facebook, I highly recommend that you go join groups. And look, don't just join a standard group that you would naturally want to be a part of. Look at some groups that are not necessarily in your lane. You do not know where your next referral is coming to. Now, why is all this important? Because you want to build connections that turn into collaborations. So, what are some of the things that you need to do to make sure that you are building into a collaboration that is profitable, by the way? So, you want to build relationships. What I tell people all the time is connections are not about just connecting to people. Connection is about building relationships. And that's why it's really important that you go back to what I said before. Listen more than you talk. Listen more than you talk, because then you can find out a lot more about these individuals. So, talking about building relationships, when you first connect to the person, give first, right? And I'm not talking about like a gift or something like that, but you can do that eventually. Give first. Be the person that gives. So if you're sitting there listening to them and you think about, okay, I know a person that would benefit them. So I'm going to tell them, hey, I got a person I can connect you to. This is a good way to get a reason to follow up by email anyway. I can connect you to, and I'll send you their information or connect you online. Some of my other friends are starting to connect through Messenger, but I'll introduce you and tell them about you so that you can connect with them. And who knows, it might turn into some kind of business relationship. People remember people that give to them first. They naturally do that. And so it's something that you want to do. I often talk about in the past when I was one of my best relationships that I had as far as doing meeting through a new connection. Um, a friend of mine, Vicky, who I hadn't known. What happened is I was part of a chamber ambassadors. And we took the list to decide who we are going to go and say happy birthday to. I went by, she wasn't there, but I left her a gift and with my business card. And she followed up. She was excited about it. That being said, that relationship turned into a conference that actually where we averaged over 600 people a year. It was profitable because I took advantage of that opportunity.
Awesome.
So I just want to remind y'all that you want to build relationships. You want to focus on not just connecting, but building relationships. So if I can't do anything else, and I'm going to wrap up because I want to make sure I stay on time. I know I'm running on time. But Success Women's Conference, where we average over 1,000 people,
Wow.
that came from a connection that I made just meeting my partner, Dorothy, at her office one day. That relations turned into her being my branding coach. And from that, after conversating, we would meet. We would always talk about women need to get together. Women need to get together. Women are looking for stuff. Women are hungry here. What can we do? And then here and for over 10 years, we need a women's conference. We need a women's conference. Her and I finally looked at each other one day and said, why don't we just do it?
Right.
And it's 6 to 9 months later, we planned that conference out. We had over 540 people at the first conference. And then after that, we actually, when Lisa Nichols came, we averaged over 1,100 people at that conference. That came from me, her and I meeting, listening to each other, building relationship, and now we have a profitable conference. So I just wanted to tell you that you can build relationships from your connections that lead to a profitable event. Take advantage of those connections. So I'm going to leave there because
What?
I know
Yeah.
Ron has some more speakers coming.
I want to thank you because what you gave was very strong tips for someone like myself who, even though people see me in front of the camera, they see me on stage and I speak, I'm an introvert. I'm naturally a shy person. Okay. So like I force myself outside of my comfort zone to do certain things. Networking is one of the most difficult things for me to do. And I know I'm not alone. So the tips that you gave on just, you talked about looking at the attendance list of events and picking out a few people to go out there and target. Because one thing I hate about happy hours and networking events as happy hours is that they become more happy hour, less networking. And I'm like, what's the point? And I think that we go in trying to, who can I go out and give my card to get them to give me something? But you kind of shifted our mind on that and how to really kind of go in there with a game plan so that even though you may be shy, you're like, listen, here's my goal. I'm not shy about achieving some goals. So my goal is to go out there and meet 5 people at an event and already having some background on them. I mean, that's huge, right? So then you talked about thinking outside of the United States. I'm like, that alone, there's a whole world, literally world outside of the U.S. Now, unfortunately, we can't go visit most of it in Europe right now, but that's a whole other story. But but there's a whole world digitally we can still have access to that can go and build our businesses outside of these here United States. So that was great. And then Facebook groups, I was, and this is not saying this as to toot my horn, but me and my partner Brian were one of the first to really create Facebook groups when they first started. And and I think a lot of things we were ahead of the curve in a lot of things, but it was a community, not necessarily business related. But using those Facebook groups and how you talked about it in a business relation, not just to go in there for conversation, but to go in there with a mission, a plan, once a week, just figuring out what's going on. I think that a lot of business groups struggle to succeed because everyone's in the business in the group, they just want to post about their business. No one wants to pour in content. So you gave a lot of things. You talked about that activity, making sure that you're doing the activity. And that's the thing about now where I talk about why we want reset, because we want to make sure that during this time you're still out there doing something, so that when the doors open, when the world opens, people are calling the people that they've seen during these times. And like you said, so in order to get a speaking engagement, an opportunity this time next year, you're gonna have to be doing something right now. So you gave so much good information, Karen. I definitely thank you for that. So I want you to go ahead and give out some information, some contact information. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and your next upcoming event if they want to get involved and join you with that.
So my very next event is called Power Up Summit. It will actually be in Biloxi, and I'm actually encouraging people. You need to consider doing when there are live events and you have that opportunity. Don't let the fear of COVID hold you back from interacting with people. Right now is probably the best time. I know we hear all the time with numbers are going up, but you have to remember that those few opportunities may not come back until 2021, middle of next year. So take those opportunities. If they're offering a social distancing and respecting that so that you are being taken care of, go to some of these, a few of these live events and interact so that you stay relevant, that people know that your business and you are still here. Because let's face it, again, I don't know, especially for the people that may be transitioning or thinking about transitioning in a career, or maybe they're thinking if they do lay off, I could be one. You don't know the future. So prepare yourself by attending events like this. Power Up Summit. Power Up Summit is July the 24th through the 26th. Yes, we will have all the social distance in place. We're at a big building, so we can make sure that we take care of our people as well. and we're bringing in speakers that will be able to pour into our attendees so that they are empowered to power up their life. So, Power Up Summit in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we're offering special BOGO buy one get one free on the on I call my butts in the seat ticket, and so it actually works out where you're only paying $30 a person, right? And you can go to powerupsummit.com, Power Up Summit VIP ticket is $99 and you get two of them, right? But for the elite experience, where you get the mastermind, where I and Ty will be teaching, and I'll be teaching people how to create a profitable, your own profitable event. And Ty being the brand master, she'll be pouring into people how to monetizing your brand. So you definitely want to click there. And in addition to that, Success Women's Conference, as big as it is, we're going virtual, and it's going to be a big virtual event. So we're actually getting ready to close out the speaker side so that we can start looking through those, because we had over 700 speakers apply, which is in this time realistic.
Wow.
So anyway, definitely write that down. That's coming this fall. Yes, 700 people. We're not gonna. We're unfortunately we're only gonna be able to take a tenth of that. So it's gonna be quite interesting how we get there. But that being said, last year we did have over 500 applicants, so it's not too far off. But it's coming in the fall, projected for September. Look, you can go to successconference.info, successconference.info. Check out that as well. And I also forgot to say, at the Power there right now, the booths are only 150 for 2 full days and includes your ability to attend the event too. So you can't beat that. That is a great price. And I have Trailblazers Who Lead, 29 stories of trailblazers from across the nation, led by none other than Gloria Mayfield Banks and Dr. Cheryl Wood, who's coming up soon. She's also one of our trailblazers featured along with Teresa Raw Brown. So join us in that book. You can get my book there. You can go to Eventbrite and buy your book right now, and then you'll get a signed copy.
Awesome. So much going on. I encourage all of you who are watching to go ahead and take advantage of all those opportunities. Definitely. Thank you so much, Karen. I'm glad that we have connected, and I look forward to working with you again real soon. Thank you.